Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 45 female, am the middle of three sisters. My older sister Claire is 48, and my younger sister Sophie is 40. Our father, Richard, was a classic self-made businessman. He started his company in his 20s, built it into something massive, and made sure everyone knew it. He believed in hierarchy, both in business and in family. From the moment I was old enough to understand social cues, it was obvious I wasn't one of his favorites. Claire was always the golden child. She was the chosen one, the one he taught to play chess at 5, the one he brought to board meetings just so she could sit quietly and learn. From the time she could walk, she was destined to take over his company. She was praised, supported, groomed for leadership. Dad called her his legacy. Sophie was the baby of the family. She was doted on, protected, shielded from reality. She was too delicate for real life, according to my father, so no one expected anything from her other than to be cute and soft and cared for. And she played that role to perfection. She learned early on that tears got her what she wanted. If Claire was the CEO in training, Sophie was the princess. Then there was me. I was just there. Not smart enough to be groomed for the business, not fragile enough to be coddled. Just the spare child, the invisible one, the middle girl who grew up learning how to disappear because no one noticed when I did. I was the one forgotten at school pickup, the one who didn't get a birthday party because we're busy that weekend, the one whose soccer games were skipped because Claire had a more important event or Sophie had a stomach ache. It wasn't just neglect, it was active exclusion. Family conversations at the dinner table would swirl around me like I wasn't there. I would try to speak and be interrupted. As a kid, you don't have the words to understand what's happening. You just know you're on the outside looking in. As we got older, the roles solidified. Claire became the vice president of my father's company in her early 30s. She's brilliant, driven, and ruthless, a carbon copy of our dad. She had her life mapped out, and our father loved that. Sophie floated from job to job, never staying long. She went through phases: artist, yoga instructor, life coach. But she always landed on her feet because Dad would bail her out whenever she failed. He said she was too sensitive for the real world and meant for soft things. Me? I got a business degree, worked in mid-level management for companies that weren't his, and took care of myself. No bailouts, no handouts. I built my life alone because I had to. 12 years ago, my father was diagnosed with cancer. Claire? She was busy running the company. Sophie? She couldn't handle the stress. She visited a few times, cried, and then disappeared back into her bubble. I was the one who stepped up. I took care of him, not out of obligation, but because I thought, maybe this is the chance to finally bond with my father. Maybe if I show him love and take care of him, he'll finally love me back. I managed his medications, sat in on doctor visits, cleaned his house, cooked his meals, held his hand during chemo, cleaned up after him when the treatments made him too weak to get to the bathroom. I put my career on pause. I sacrificed my time, my health, my sanity. He never thanked me. When my father finally passed, I was devastated. Despite everything, I loved him. Despite the decades of emotional neglect, I still wanted his approval. But then came the will reading. Claire inherited the company, as expected. Full control, all shares, everything. Sophie inherited his house, a massive 5-bedroom property with no mortgage. It was always her safe space. And me? I got a lake cabin, a tiny rundown shack on a property no one had visited in years. It was falling apart, moldy, neglected, barely standing. The roof leaked, the dock was rotting. It was basically worthless. At the reading of the will, Claire and Sophie laughed. I remember the sound of it, sharp, cruel, dismissive. Claire said, "Well, I guess that says everything, doesn't it?" Sophie chimed in, "Maybe you should have taken better care of him." I smiled through it, but inside I shattered. A week later, my father's lawyer called. There was something else. He handed me a safe deposit box key, something my father left only for me. The safe was in the lake cabin, so I went there and opened the safe. Inside was an envelope. In it was a letter that changed my life. It explained why I was always the outsider, because I wasn't really his. My father wrote that during a rough patch in his marriage, my mother had an affair with her boss. She worked for his company for a short time. She got pregnant and never told the man. My father knew. He did the math. He confronted my mother when she was pregnant with me. She admitted the affair but begged him to stay for the sake of the family and to avoid scandal. He agreed, but emotionally he checked out. In his words, "I did my duty. But I could never love you fully because you were a daily reminder of my humiliation and your mother's betrayal." He wrote that he was sorry, in the way someone says sorry when they're checking a box, not because they mean it. At the end of the letter, he gave me the name of my real father. After weeks of sitting with the letter, I decided to find him. He wasn't hard to track down. He's a well-known businessman, wealthy beyond belief. His company is international, but he's always been private about his personal life. When I reached out, I expected rejection. Instead, I got tears. He had no idea my mother was pregnant. She quit her job and disappeared from his life. He never heard from her again. He told me he'd spent years wondering why she left so abruptly. He'd never married, never had children. He said he always regretted not starting a family. When we met in person, he hugged me like I've never been hugged before. We did a paternity test. The results were clear, 100% match. For the next 10 years, him and I built a real relationship. He brought me into his life without hesitation. He introduced me to his friends, his colleagues, his world. He supported me emotionally, celebrated my wins, comforted me during losses. I got to experience what real fatherly love felt like for the first time in my life. When he passed away 6 months ago, he left me everything: his estate, his properties, his investments, his fortune. He wrote in his will, "I lost the chance to raise my daughter. I won't lose the chance to give her what I can now." When Claire and Sophie found out, the call started immediately. Suddenly, I'm their sister again. Funny how that works. They're demanding I share the inheritance because I already got a cut from their dad's estate. Mind you, my cut was a rotting shack by a lake. They got the company and the house. Claire is CEO. Sophie lives in Dad's mansion. But now that I have something of value, they're acting like I robbed them. They say that money should stay in the family, that I'm punishing them for childhood dramas, that I'm rubbing my good luck in their faces. But this isn't about money. It's about respect. For decades, I was treated like the spare wheel, the accident, the one who didn't belong. Now that I've finally received something that wasn't a leftover or a hand-me-down, they're clawing at it like I'm obligated to give it up. I'm not doing it. I spent 35 years wondering why I was treated like the family mistake. Now I know why. And now that I finally have something of my own, I'm keeping it. So Reddit, am I the asshole for refusing to share my inheritance with my sisters after spending my life as the family outsider? Not the a-hole. OP's sisters spent their entire lives treating OP like a second-class family member. Now that OP has something they want, suddenly OP is family again. That's not how this works. They got the company and the house because OP's father chose them. OP got scraps. Now OP inherited from her actual father, and they can't stand that OP finally have something of her own. OP doesn't owe them a cent. And now let's hear community's opinion. Let me get this straight. They laughed at you for getting the cabin, dismissed you as less than, and now that life finally balanced the scales, you're supposed to bail them out of their envy. Nope. They reaped the rewards of being the favored children for decades. You were discarded. This is the universe correcting that imbalance. Keep your inheritance and keep your boundaries. Not the a-hole. This is one of those stories where the golden children are only generous when they're on the receiving end. Where were they when you were taking care of your dad? Where were they when you were treated like a shadow in your own family? They're not entitled to a damn thing from your biological father's estate. They've lived their whole lives thinking you're beneath them, and now they're mad that you're not. Not the a-hole. Blood doesn't entitle people to your life, your peace, or your bank account. Your sisters were fine with you being the outsider until it stopped being convenient for them. Now they're guilt-tripping you because they don't get to control the narrative anymore. Don't fall for it. You don't owe them closure, forgiveness, or financial support. You owe yourself freedom from people who only see you as valuable when they can benefit from you, not the a-hole. Me, 39 male, and my ex-wife got divorced 2 years ago. We share custody for our 16-year-old daughter, Sarah. I met my girlfriend over a year ago, and we're planning to get married at the end of October. I've been putting money to the side for my daughter to be able to attend college and pursue a career, and I've been saving in my personal account after my ex and I got separated. I've already talked to my daughter about how much I'm struggling with money these days, and I haven't been able to put any money in her college savings because of current circumstances. I sat with her and asked her if I could use her college savings so my girlfriend and I can get married and sort things out, and that I will pay everything back once I start going back to work. She refused and tried to blame my girlfriend and say that it must have been her idea and that she hates her for ruining her life already. I assured her that was not the case, but she just yelled in my face saying that I'm clearly choosing my future wife over her future. She refused to talk about it when I let her cool down so we could talk again, and has been telling her mother everything that's been happening. My girlfriend called me and she was crying, saying my ex-wife got her number and berated her for trying to take my daughter's college money and ruin her future, and told her to stay away. I was pissed, so I called my ex-wife to have a conversation with her, and she lashed out at me saying that what I'm doing is wrong. She even demanded that I don't touch my daughter's college money, seeing how upset my daughter was, but I told her she had no say in the matter, since I will be returning the money. But she then told my family, and they're all against me because they refused the idea of me getting married again in the first place. My daughter won't come out of her room, and says she wishes she could move out before the wedding, which was hurtful to hear. Some info to add. My girlfriend is contributing in the wedding. Her mother wants a wedding so she can invite her family and keeps making demands knowing that I have financial struggles. I told my daughter that I will be paying everything back once things are sorted, especially the wedding that my girlfriend's mom makes it seem impossible with her demands. My girlfriend is 32 years old. She has a job but won't stand up to her mother and her controlling behavior. How are you planning to pay back 16 years worth of savings in the 2 years before she starts college? Why don't you postpone the wedding until you can afford it? Or plan a wedding that you can afford within your current budget? You're the a-hole for taking money that has been promised to your daughter. Wow, you're the a-hole. Why can't you and your girlfriend wait and save for a wedding instead of stealing money from your daughter? Does your girlfriend have a job? Is she contributing to your wedding at all? And what does your daughter mean your girlfriend ruined her life? Is there any overlap between your relationship with your ex-wife and your current girlfriend? You're the a-hole. If you're so sure you'd be able to pay it back, take a loan out and pay interest like a man. If you're already struggling financially, you sure as hell can't afford a wedding. You haven't been contributing to your daughter's college fund, and she's only a few years away from college. Of course she's concerned about your ability to pay it back, especially because you'll be married at that point, and your new wife will likely be against it, or you will have new kids or other circumstances preventing you from repaying your daughter. My 30 male fiancé, let's call him Wade, fake name, proposed to me, 27 female, 2 years ago using a family heirloom ring from my family. For more detail, it belonged to my maternal grandmother, and when she passed, my mom inherited it. It has always been a fact that she will give it to one of her daughters when we grow up. We also always assume she will give it to my sister Mercy, 28 female. To be clear, it's not a super expensive ring or anything. Mom added a diamond to it, but it cost around the same as the average engagement ring. This might be important to the story. Mercy is my half-sister, same dad, different mums. Her bio mom has never been in the picture, but my mom has always made it clear that we are both her daughters, and she loves us both. She has also always treated Mercy well. Anyway, when my mom gave the ring to my now fiancé to propose to me, I was pleasantly surprised, but also confused. But again, Mom never said who she would give the ring to. Later I talked to Mom about the ring and found out Mom only gave my fiancé the ring because Mercy didn't think she would ever get married. I talked to Mercy later and she confirmed this. She felt strongly against marriage, and with good cause, which isn't relevant here. The issue now is that Mercy has been dating this nice guy. Let's call him Jake, 35 male. He is sweet, treats her like a queen, and has a cute son. He has been putting it out there that he intends to propose, and even asked for our parents' blessing. Now Mercy wants the ring back. My fiancé and I didn't have any problem giving it back right after our engagement and finding another one, but it has come to mean so much to us. We have been planning our wedding with my late grandma in mind, and grandma had only one ring, my current engagement ring, and it's like the final touch. Other details include remaking her wedding dress, using one of her necklaces, getting a wedding band that's a perfect match to wear with the engagement ring, etc. I told Mercy this, and she said we can just design a ring that looks the same. One of the reasons is she isn't our mom's biological daughter, so she should get this one privilege. She also thinks since mom intended to give her the ring anyway, so I should give it back to her. I still think she should not have said it was okay if it wasn't, and my fiancé agrees. However, Mercy is not speaking to me, and my parents have different opinions on this. So will I be the a-hole if I hold on to the ring? Not the a-hole. Do not give it back. She already refused it. She doesn't get to change her mind when it's convenient. Not the a-hole. You can't give it back. You offered it back to her. She had her chance and turned it down. The ring is yours now. The non-biological daughter argument is such emotional blackmail if your mother has always treated her the same. If she wants to go down that route, you could be equally petty and say your grandmother would have wanted you to have the ring, seeing as Mercy isn't her biological granddaughter. Also, when she told you you design a similar-looking ring, why doesn't she do that? Is it just about the money then? Does she think it's unfair you got a free ring? Not the a-hole. And the stuff about this one privilege is absolute BS. She's trying to emotionally guilt you into giving it to her. It's been your ring for 2 years. She's being absolutely ridiculous. If she's guilting your mother also, she's just selfish and vile. She's the one that okayed it in the first place. No take-backsies. I have a classic 1997 Saab 900 that I bought nearly new when I was 25. I drove the car for 12 to 14 years and kept it well maintained. In 2012-ish, I sold it to my brother-in-law who was down on his luck for $500 when the car was worth $2,500. I always told him when he was done with the car or couldn't afford the repairs, I would take it back. In 2019, he reached out to say he needed to get rid of the car. At that time, I had no real place to store it, and my kids were not old enough to drive it. So my wife and I got a new title and bought some new parts so my sister-in-law could use the car, as she and her boyfriend were in desperate need of a car. Neither had one, and my sister-in-law currently didn't have a license, as she lost it in a DUI. Over the next few years, the sister-in-law's boyfriend worked on the car, found parts, bought new tires and rims, and otherwise maintained the car. In 2021, he stopped using it, and it was sitting in their driveway. My sister-in-law still without a license. Also, when we let my sister-in-law use the car, we put the title in my mother-in-law's name, as she was going to pay the insurance. Fast forward to 2022. My son is old enough to drive, and recently totaled our 2007 Volvo in a single-car accident. He is okay. My wife and I have private school tuition to pay and college to save for, so we really don't want to spend $5 to $10K to buy my son a new car. So last week we reach out to the sister-in-law and ask her if we can pay her $1,000 to take the car back. The money was a thank you for taking care of the car. She and her boyfriend flipped out and said the car was theirs and it was not for sale. After many nasty texts, all coming from her, we agreed on a price of $1,800. Then the next day, she texts me asking for more money for the tires and rims that they put on a year earlier. I told her we had made a deal for $1,800. Am I the a-hole for taking this car back when my sister-in-law, who does not have a license and has not used the car for work, thinks the car is hers? Also, the boyfriend is attached to the car since he did so much work on it. My wife and I probably could find another option, but I have always loved my original Saab and am so excited to restore and let my 17-year-old son use. Thoughts? You're the a-hole. You sold it. The car is not in your name. Why do you think it's still yours? Probably because they wound up coming to an agreement to get the car back. Sister-in-law is definitely the a-hole for trying to go back on the deal to try and get more money. Besides, it's technically not sister-in-law's either. They could probably literally go to mother-in-law and just ask for it back directly from there and not have to pay for crap. Everyone sucks here. It's not your car anymore. You sold it. It's also not your sister-in-law's car. Also, why are you wanting to put your young kid that clearly isn't the best driver in a 25-year-old car, especially one that's less safe than the one they just crashed? Everyone sucks here. 1. You never gave your sister-in-law the car. You lent it to her. She has a DUI and can't drive anyway. 2. Her boyfriend put new rims and tires on the car and maintained it while he drove it. After a while, he stopped driving it and the car just sat. 3. You, your mother-in-law, and your sister-in-law conspire to commit insurance fraud by putting the car in your mother-in-law's name when the intended driver has a DUI. 4. $1,800 is a fair deal, and your sister-in-law was wrong to try and change it. 5. Your son already totaled one car, and you want to put him back behind the wheel of another one? Before you start judging me, let me explain a bit more in detail. My ex has been in the relationship with his girlfriend for over 10 years. His girlfriend lives with him. My 20-year-old son still goes and visits his dad on a routine basis, which I've always encouraged. Me and my ex get along pretty well to this day. My son has no real relationship with his dad's girlfriend. She has never made an attempt to have any type of relationship with our son. About a year ago, my ex's girlfriend was diagnosed with cancer in the brain. She is the eldest of 3 children. My ex, let's call him Jim, has been taking her to all her doctor appointments and chemo treatments, etc. I've spoken to my ex to tell him he can't do it alone. He needs to get help from her family. And his response is, they know, I shouldn't have to tell them. He still works full-time. I saw her January 14th, and she was talking and looked okay. Days after that is when her health declined. She can't feed or bathe herself, nor can she sit, walk, or speak clearly. So Jim has taken it upon himself to take care of her himself, which I understand because he loves her. I know that. So here's my issue, and please let me know if I'm the a-hole. So Jim wants to take care. Okay, I get it. But now he depends on our son to help him instead of asking her family. Our son is in his 2nd year of college, so he has to study, go to school, and then expected to help his dad. On Fridays, my son doesn't have school. I just found out that Jim leaves him to take care of the girlfriend while he goes to work. Now, my son wants to be there to help his dad. I understand. But I feel his dad is crossing the line by expecting him to help take care of her and leaving him while he goes to work, when he can't even ask her family for help. What kind of family doesn't try and support their dying family member? From what my ex told me when they first started dating, that she was considered the black sheep of the family. Her brother and sister are married and have kids. She was never married or had any kids. Since they've seen her health decline, the sister and her daughter picked up the Tesla that has been parked in the garage for a year and have taken her Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and Fendi purses. They made sure to clear her things out, but not the sister. They haven't hired any health care for the sister, daughter. Her parents are well off, so money is not the issue. What are your thoughts? You're the a-hole. Those are my thoughts. Let me explain. There could be many reasons why the family doesn't help. Perhaps she was indeed the black sheep and they went no contact with her. Maybe she has a bad relationship that you don't know about, because why would you? It's not your business. Your son is 20. He's an adult who can make decisions for himself. He wants to help. You're over here complaining that the family isn't helping her, but her family is. Her family is your ex-husband, and apparently your son also sees her as family, whether you want that or not. You're the a-hole. It doesn't sound like you're offering any constructive solutions, just shooting down everything. Her family is useless in the situation. Your ex is stressed out, grieving, and in need of help. While it would be a weird situation you would be putting yourself in, why not ask what you can do to help, even if it's just dropping off food or running errands? This is none of your business. It isn't your household, and your son is an adult. Be gracious. Your son is learning how to take care of people you love. It's no picnic, and it sounds like he stepped up. Tell him you're proud of him. I, 26 female, live with my mom, 46, and older brother, 28. We're poor, but other members of our family aren't. My great aunt is crazy rich and offered to buy us a house in 2017 to try and help us get our feet under ourselves after a long run of bad luck. Our grandparents, my mom's parents, offered to help us build credit by buying the house for us, then letting us rent to own it over like 10 years. The problem is, despite our warnings, They decided to buy a house in a small dying town, and between the virus, the economy, and everything, the job pool is dried up. We have one car, and the closest city is nearly an hour away. They admit that they made a mistake and now want to sell the house. In 2017, they bought this house for $75K. Last year, a house a block over from us sold for nearly $200K. Our house is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a massive backyard. The house that sold for just under $200K, 1 bed, 1 bath, barely any yard. This year, our house's valuation has risen by more than twice its original value, from $75K to $180K. With some spit shine and elbow grease, I'm sure we could sell this house for $200K. So here's the issue. In talks about selling the house, it's come forward that they don't plan to give us any of the money from it. And on top of that, they expect us to still do the things that need to be done to make the house purchase ready, e.g., paint, fill in nail holes, clean, replace carpet, etc. They're both in their 80s, so if we don't do it, they'll have to pay people to do it. Like, I just feel like we got scammed. This house was supposed to be a gift from our great aunt, and it feels like they swooped in and stole it. And now that it's a burden, they want us to make it all pretty for sale, and we won't even see any of that money to help us get started somewhere else. Not the a-hole. The house was supposed to be for your family, and they took it. I'm no lawyer, but you should really take legal action. Don't do any maintenance on the house. Let them hire people. You shouldn't spend a cent since you're not getting proceeds from the sale. Not the a-hole. You can state that you won't be doing any work on the house unless you receive some percentage of the sale, or are paid full market price for the labor. They can't make you do the work to better it.